Hello, hello and welcome. It's Ruth here at artfulstampin.co.uk. Today I'm going to be showing you this gorgeous fancy fold. It's a diagonal lattice and I learnt how to make it from my lovely friend Ellie Baint. Now I will put a link to her YouTube channel, but she, I think, got it from BB Cameron. So BB Cameron is this gorgeous, gorgeous card designer, and you can find her on Instagram and I think YouTube as well. Anyway, it's one of those cards that looks complicated, but then when you break it down, it's actually pretty easy. You've just got to kind of follow some steps, like all card making, but you'll get there no problem. Right, so in order to prep ahead of time, you do need some kind of tacky tape, like a washi tape, or there's other various sort of tacky tapes on the market. I've got a feeling actually the masking paper that Stampin' Up! Might do as well for this. So I don't know. Right, I'm just going to grab my chair to sit down. Oh, clatter, clatter, clatter. Sorry, I didn't pre-clear my chair. Sometimes my chair ends up being an extra table. Right, so then you need to cut yourself a piece of cardstock. It doesn't actually matter, whether you're doing inches or centimetres. Basically, if you take what is your normal standard size card size, and I've got some already pre-cut. So what I did was I just cut off a bit at the end, because you need to end up with two pieces of card that measure exactly the same. So that's that. Then you also need to cut yourself 6 strips of card. Now you can do this 1.5 centimeters or 1/2 inch. It's up to you. But once you've seen me make it, you'll see how by making it slightly thinner or thicker, it does change the look of the lattice a little bit. Then the other thing you're going to need is a ruler and a good old-fashioned pencil. Who'd have thought it that we need a pencil in this day and age, but we do sometimes, and it just makes life a bit easier. And a ruler. I've already pre-cut some of my decor pieces, so I will show you what I used in a second for all these lovely little tidbits that I've got to the side. But to start off with, I'm going to just show you how to actually make the lattice. So I can put all these other pieces aside. You just need to work on one piece of card to start off with. So what you need to do is find the middle of whatever piece of card you're using. So because actually, you know what, I'm going to make my life a bit easier. It's 10.5 centimeters wide, but I am going to see if I can cut this so it actually measures 10 centimeters, because it's just so much easier to do the maths. Yeah, I'm going to do it that way. If you wanted to do it 4 inches, that's fine. And I'm actually going to just quickly cut this down while I'm at my my trimmer, because that needs to fit perfectly inside of there, and I cut it for the other size. So that's just cut down to 10 centimeters. Right, sorry, 9.5. All right. So what you need to do first of all is mark the top and the bottom of your cardstock halfway. So for me, that's at 5 centimeters, and then do a mark either side of that middle mark, either 1/2 centimeter up or something like 1/8 either side. So the measurement in the middle is kind of like null and void now. That's not the important measurement. The important measurement is actually the 2 either side. So if you are clever enough, and let's see, I'm going to attempt it, to kind of basically not mark the middle, but mark either side. So 5 is the middle, either side would be 4.5 and 5.5. There we go. That is actually the important mark that I need. Then what we're going to do is take the strips. Now the strips that you've cut need to be slightly longer than your piece of cardstock, the lengthways, because we're going to be placing these diagonally. So they need to be a little bit longer. So these measure 21 centimeters, which is approximately 8 inches. And as you can see, it leaves a little bit top and bottom. So what you do to start off with is place your your strip, the left side of the strip, so that it goes to the top corner, and then the bottom part of the strip on the left goes to the mark that is on the right hand side of the middle. So like so. All right, and just leave it. Then you need to take your next strip and place it on the left hand side mark of the middle. I know what, if I just move my piece of card over so that the grid is going to, this darker line here is showing you the middle. So the right hand side of your strip needs to go onto the left hand side of the middle mark, and then the right hand side down here needs to go onto that corner there. All right, so those are your 2 strips placed. Then the third strip, you don't have to do any kind of measuring really, it's more about eyeballing it. You just need to place that then in the middle, in between the 2 strips. Now I've just realized, using this dark grey cardstock probably makes it a bit trickier for you to see what I'm doing. I should have maybe stuck that underneath first, but anyway, you're just going to have to trust that I'm doing this correctly. Then I'm going to take my washi tape and I'm going to stick that all together like so. Make sure it's nice and stuck, and then I'm going to flip my piece of cardstock over and then grab myself a bone folder, which I should have had ready and waiting, but you know, sometimes these things. Oh, I'll just use this one that I've got on my desk. I've been making envelopes and things. I've still got this one on my desk. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to score along the top of the card like so. And this is just going to make it easier for me to fold these sections over. So I'm just folding then those pieces of card over like so. And yes, I know they're overhanging a bit, but don't worry about that too much. And then I'm going to get some glue. Now it might be time for me to start a new glue, because I've been ferociously trying to use up glues over the last few weeks. They've just been hanging about, and I may have reached the end of my glues, but we will see. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got plenty there. So I'm just going to spread that over a little bit. Got a little bit too much there, Ruth. Okay, a bit vigorous with the glue. Just going to get a scrap piece of card and swipe that onto there. Now I'm not too concerned if the glue does push out a little bit. I'm not going to be worried about it, because actually that spare piece of card is going to be stuck over the back of this, so I'm not going to over worry too much about that. Okay, right, let's flip that back over. Brilliant. So that's all stuck down. So now I need to take the second lot of strips and kind of do the opposite to what I've just done. So I'm going to take the right hand side of the strip in the top right corner, and then have it meet the left mark of the center like so. Now when we made this with Ellie the other day, I did think it would be fun to weave it in. We didn't end up doing that, so I'm going to peel this aside and see if I can attempt to do that. So actually I'm going to place that. Can I place that one first? Oh, I can, yes. So I'm just going to weave that in. So rather than starting in the corner, I'm actually going to start from that point there and see if this will work. So I'm going to the right of that middle mark and then hitting that point there. Yeah, I think that could work. Might just need to put a bit of tape down to keep it for a second. Then I'm going to weave this in. So I'm going to lift up the middle one. Oh, don't move, don't move. Come on, you were happy there a minute ago. There we go. And I'm going to weave that in. And I'm not going to place it, I'm just weaving it in. And then I'm going to take my third one lift the end to. There we go. And this is the one that I'm going to place deliberately, and then I'll wiggle the middle one in a second. So that the right hand side of this needs to hit the corner. Now if you feel that things are going to be moving around too much, just get a bit of washi tape, that's fine, just to hold it down. And then the right hand side needs to hit the mark on the left hand side of my center point. And again, if I'm just going to put a little bit of washi to kind of keep that all nice together. So then this middle strip, I am eyeballing it so that it's in the center, in between the two. There you have it. And then I'm going to put a bit of washi just over that to hold it while I lift that up, flip it over, and then glue it down. Right, let's take that off. Do the whole process again of scoring. Push that back, push that back, push that back. Now I'm aware some of you may have already seen this technique, and before, years ago, I used to think, oh, people have seen techniques, they don't need to see me do this. But time has taught me that actually, not just because I've seen something on the internet, not necessarily everybody else who follows me has seen it. So I'm happy to share, but I'm also happy to give the credit where it's due. And I've been following BB Cameron for many years, since she used to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. She's not a demo anymore. But she still shares some amazing techniques. She always shares amazing techniques. What can I say? All right. Okay, that's all in place. Now, then you need just to get yourself a good sharp pair of scissors, because you're going to snip off all the bits that are kind of overhanging, because we don't need those. So just kind of be careful. There we go. And it's useful, as you can see, just to leave that washi tape on. Why is that? That's kind of like moved over to the corner a little bit, and I don't like it there. I'm trying to see if there's a way of me bringing that back round. I think I just need to score it better up here. Okay, it's just overhanging a very slight amount. I'm just going to leave it because there we go. So just cut, then cut. There we go. So I've still got my washi tape on the front because I just need everything to be held in place while I put glue on the back here, like so. Kind of paying a bit more attention to these extra pieces here because we want those to be stuck on really, really well. And this is my second panel that I'm just going to stick over the top, exactly over the one that I've just done. Hope that makes sense. Okay, give it a good push. Right, once that's all done, you can then remove your pieces of washi. Yep. Like so. And I have already pre-cut a panel that I want to stick over the top to kind of like hold it all together before I start decorating. So I'm actually just going to pop some glue in on some strategic kind of like areas that I know will get covered by my rectangle. Okay, not rectangle, it's a square, sorry. Not choosing the right words today. And I want that right in the middle to hold it all together. And you'll find that whatever decoration you choose to put in the middle, It just helps make it all super sturdy. Just be aware that you do not want to put the glue on the panel first before sticking it onto the lattice, because you do not want glue seeping out from here. And you can always go in and put a little bit extra if you feel that you need it. All right, so that's the basic structure made. And if I just do a reminder of the first one that I made, I'll show you what I used. Instead of a square, I used a piece cut from the is it the artistically inked dies? If you can see behind there, you can see it was that really kind of like latticey one, which was okay, but I did have to be careful not to get the glue to seep through. Also, this was cut using, I think, slightly wider strips. I think this was 1.5 centimeter strips rather than 1/2 inch, and so I've ended up with very thin spacings, but with this one I've ended up with slightly larger spacings. So that's what I mean by you can kind of play around with it. Oh, excuse my writing on the back of there. I printed out something on some cardstock and I decided I didn't need it, so I'm just making sure I reuse. So I'm going to use a new embossing folder, if I can find it. Oh, I did get it out. I did prepare it earlier, as in I got out my correct embossing mat. So this is a new one. This is called Exposed Brick 3D Embossing Folder. And I love anything kind of like super textural like this, that's pretty generic as well. So I'm just going to pop that through the machine and stick that then in the background. So this is how it turned out. Isn't that beautiful? It's just kind of lots of lovely texture, and I thought that would just be so much fun to have that in the background there. And then I'm going to start decorating. So because I've just put it through the embossing folder, it's worth just making sure that you put a good amount of glue, because of all that texture, and the glue likes to seep in between the cracks and things. Oh, I've just realised there's kind of like probably 2 ways of using this. Not up and down. The emboss and the deboss side, both are quite fun. All right, so there we go. We can kind of see the lattice a bit better now. Now it is optional whether or not you want to stick a little strip along the bottom of your lattice just to make it a bit more sturdy. It does stand fine, but sometimes you might find that you just want them to kind of like stand a bit straighter. So as you can see on this one here, I actually put a panel across there in the same colour as my background, and then just snipped it there. So when the card is shut, it's hardly noticeable, and actually when you've got it open as well, it's kind of barely noticeable. Right, so that's options. So I'm going to decorate mine with some flowers from the Textured Floral stamp set. This flower here and this leaf, and I cut them out using the matching dies, and then I also went ahead and cut out some gorgeous leaves that I'm going to use just to pop in my background here before I stick my flowers on. And they're so pretty, and I'm just going to leave them as they are. Sometimes I do give these a bit of a trim, but I'm just going to leave them because I've got quite a few to choose from. So I'm just going to stick that there and cut that off. Have that one coming down like that. And then I can just, where I've just removed that, I'm just going to cut that so it's nice and neat, and I'm just going to pop these ones into here, and I'll save that one for later in case it actually, I might just end up covering it over. Yeah, I might end up just covering it over. Let's pull that one back out again. So here I've this is a full strength Melon Mambo, and this is 2nd generation. And what I'm going to do is, with a bit of bubble bath ink, put a little bit of pink onto the background there, because I just feel that I don't like those kind of like white edges. and the white bits showing through. So I'm just going to add a bit of pink so that it doesn't look so stark. Oh, sorry about that banging. There's something obviously on my desk that's knocking against my wall when I'm doing that. Right, so let's have a little play with how this is going to look. I think that would look fabulous like that. Oh, I forgot I also cut out some soft seafoam green leaves as well, so maybe I'll use those in a minute. Then I've got these pieces here, so they would be fun underneath, like so. Ooh, so pretty. All right, I think I'm just going to find me some dimensionals. All right, so I've stuck those all down with dimensionals and just realised that have I got some showing through on that side? Yes, I do. So if that does happen, rather than trying to undo it, what I'm going to do is get my embossing buddy and just pop a bit of powder onto those sticky areas just to remove a bit of that sticky. And then maybe next time I'll take a bit more care, but I forgot that they would show through. Right, so I want to use just these little bits of green that I've got a bit of glue on it. These are soft seafoam leaves, and I thought it would be nice just to have these tucked in amongst some of these leaves too. Let's just see how that looks. Oh, nice. And then also I can have some tucked like so. I think I might just do that. And I definitely don't want the backs of these to show because these ones have got printing on. I'm just going to tuck that into there. And again, where I've cut it off, I'm just going to make it look like it was always meant to be that way. Just going to pop a little bit of glue down there. Hold that into place. Then have I got space for another one? Maybe just another one tucked into there. Right, so I do hope that you're going to go and have a look at all the other amazing hoppers in this video hop. So we are the Stamp Around UK vlog hop, and we're made up of various UK demonstrators, and our theme this month is fancy fold, and I hope that you feel this qualifies for fancy fold. I think it does. Now all that remains for me to do is to think about doing a little sentiment that I was going to place onto there. So let's just see if I wonder if that would fit on there. Oh no, that's definitely not going to fit. Okay, maybe that. Oh, that does fit. Oh, I love it when that happens. I did not plan for it to fit at all. Well, anyway, I didn't plan the sentiment at all, so let's just pick that up. And I think a little bit of white ink will look brilliant. Now the thing about white ink is that you've got to make sure that you load your stamp properly, and I am going to actually just try it out with it on a bit of this grey scrap to make sure I have enough ink. And also I think because I've never used that stamp before, it can sometimes take a couple of goes to condition the stamp. So I think that's loaded now. So let's get that on there. And hold it down for a few seconds. There we go. Oh, it's a little bit ski with. But I think we'll be okay. Actually, I'm wondering whether to stick it down there. So that will actually help to hold some of those panels together. Now, I'm not usually one for sticking sentiments so low. And actually, I'm going to decide not to after all that. Because Sentiments that are put too low, they then don't become the focal point, or they're out of the focal point. And so I'm not super keen on doing that. I'm just going to pop that there, and then I'm just going to show you that neat little trick you can do with how to stabilize the bottom. So I'm just going to cut myself a piece of cardstock that's, oh, what's that, 1.5 inches or about 2 centimeters. I'm just going to cut a strip, and then I'm going to open my card out like so, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue across in a straight line, if it'll come. Sorry, had to resort to a different glue. All right, and then I'm just gonna make sure these are as straight as can be. I can see I might have made a bit of a measurement mistake somewhere in my haste to do this video, so apologies for that if I didn't quite get that lined up. But I wonder if I lined it up to the wrong marker, because one of these looks thicker than they ought to be, but never mind. Yeah, oh, definitely don't want to use that one. All right, bear with, I've got to cut myself another piece. Okay, so note to self, when trying to use up scraps, sometimes printing on the other side doesn't work. There we go. Right, I just grabbed myself a new bit. So then all I'm going to do is trim off that section there and that section there, and then also just trim the, oops, on, there we go, there and there. So that's just helped to kind of sturdy, there we go, that stands much better now. Just helps to sturdy that bottom section. Right, there we go. There you have it. Fancy fold. Fancy dancy fold, I would say. Thank you so much for joining me, and please do go and grab a cup of tea and see what all the other hoppers have been up to. I'm looking forward to seeing their fancy folds. And so here's the one that I made under the tutelage of the wonderful Ellie Baint at Elementary Paper Crafting. And then this is my one that I've done for you guys today. So thank you so much for joining. I will pop the list of the products I've used for this one in the description, and if I have the time I'll do that one as well. And I'll see you again next month, or maybe in the next few days. Take care for now. Bye.